In the heart of the bustling metropolis of Hanamura, a radiant being stood watch over the city, Akiheim, the Kitsune goddess. Towering above skyscrapers, her 9 tails shimmered like auroras in the sky, casting a protective glow that shielded her beloved city from natural disasters, invading forces, and even stray meteors. Her form was magnificent, her beauty otherworldly. Long silver hair cascaded down her back like a waterfall of moonlight, framing a face both gentle and commanding. Her golden eyes glowed softly, filled with wisdom and compassion that had been forged over centuries of guardianship. Her ears, tipped with white fur, twitched ever so slightly, attuned to the smallest sounds of the city she adored. Akiheim's presence was as soothing as a lullaby, yet as awe-inspiring as the sunrise. Her 9 tails, each one brimming with divine energy, moved with a life of their own. They shimmered in hues of gold, silver, and blue, the colors shifting like an endless ocean of stars. Each tail was said to hold the power of 1,000 storms, but they also served as symbols of her connection to the people of Hanamura. When she moved, the earth seemed to hum in harmony with her steps, a silent testament to the bond between goddess and city. The people adored Akiheim. Her presence brought prosperity, safety, and an undeniable sense of awe. But the energy she expended to protect the city came at a cost. Her divine powers were immense, but they required sustenance, not in the form of food, but in the form of life energy. And so, a tradition was born. The people of Hanamura would offer a willing sacrifice to Akiheim whenever her strength waned. Despite the gravity of the tradition, it was not viewed with fear or sorrow. Akiheim's kindness and compassion were legendary. She ensured that each chosen one felt no pain, only peace, and their sacrifice was honored as the ultimate act of love for the city. The chosen would be celebrated as a hero, their name etched into the city's monuments forever. Today, the air in Hanamura was electric. The annual Festival of Light was underway, a celebration of Akiheim's guardianship. The festival was a kaleidoscope of colors, sounds, and scents. Lanterns of every imaginable hue floated through the air, their soft glow illuminating the streets in a dreamlike radiance. Stalls lined the avenues, offering traditional foods, handcrafted trinkets, and performances of music and dance. Children laughed as they chased each other through the crowds, their faces painted with images of foxes and stars. Elders sat together, sharing stories of Akiheim's past deeds, their voices filled with reverence. In the center of the city, a massive shrine dedicated to Akiheim served as the focal point of the festivities. The shrine, adorned with intricate carvings and glowing crystals, seemed to pulse with a life of its own. Offerings of flowers, incense, and food piled high at its base, each one a token of gratitude from the people. A grand stage had been erected nearby, where performers enacted stories of Akiheim's heroism. Actors in elaborate costumes portrayed her battles against titanic storms and her tender moments of compassion with the city's citizens. Amidst the celebrations, the year's chosen sacrifice, a young woman named Kaori, stood before Akiheim's immense form at the city square. She wore a ceremonial robe of deep red, adorned with golden embroidery that sparkled in the light. Her hair was adorned with delicate fox-shaped pins, a symbol of her connection to the goddess. Kaori had spent the morning surrounded by loved ones, preparing for the sacred ritual. Her family and friends had gathered to bid her farewell, their tears mingling with words of pride and gratitude. She had participated in a purification ceremony at a sacred spring, where priests anointed her with fragrant oils and whispered blessings for her journey. She was presented with a pendant, a small crystal imbued with Akiheim's energy, which she clutched tightly as she approached the goddess. Kaori had volunteered, her heart swelling with pride and purpose. She gazed up at the Kitsune goddess, who knelt gracefully, her golden eyes soft with empathy. "Kaori," Akiheim's voice resonated, deep and melodic, yet gentle enough to soothe. "You are brave and selfless. Your sacrifice will ensure the safety of Hanamura for another year. I promise you will feel no fear, only peace. I will hold your spirit close to mine always." Kaori nodded, her resolve unshaken. "It is an honor, Goddess Akiheim. Please protect them all." Akiheim smiled warmly and extended a delicate hand, her fingers glimmering with ethereal light. She touched Kaori's forehead, initiating a telepathic connection. Through the link, Kaori felt waves of calm and reassurance. The goddess's thoughts enveloped her like a warm embrace, banishing any trace of anxiety. "You will not be alone, Kaori. I will guide you, and your spirit will dwell in a place of eternal light." Akiheim ensured every sensation was as gentle and comforting as possible. As the connection deepened, Kaori's consciousness intertwined with Akiheim's. She felt the goddess's immense love for every soul in Hanamura, her unwavering dedication to their happiness and safety. It was like standing in the heart of the sun, bathed in infinite warmth. The moment came. The city square was silent, the air thick with reverence. Akiheim's tails curled around her protectively as she opened her mouth, revealing a luminous golden glow. Kaori stepped forward with measured grace, her heart a mix of steady resolve and quiet trepidation. Though the crowd watched her with reverent silence, she felt the immense warmth of their support. She focused her gaze upward, meeting Akiheim's golden eyes, which radiated calm and compassion. Even as the towering goddess opened her mouth slightly, revealing the soft glow of divine light within, Kaori felt no fear, only awe. The golden glow within her mouth was warm and soothing, the soft walls of her divine form pulsing rhythmically with a maternal energy that Kaori found strangely serene. As Akiheim extended her hand, her fingers brushed Kaori's forehead, activating the telepathic bond. In that moment, Kaori's emotions were no longer her own. Waves of reassurance and love flooded through her, a cascade of feelings so profound it brought tears to her eyes. "Do not be afraid," Akiheim's voice echoed in her mind, gentle and soothing. "You are safe with me, Kaori. Your bravery honors all of Hanamura." Kaori closed her eyes, overwhelmed by the sheer intimacy of the connection. Through Akiheim's thoughts, she saw visions of the city she loved, thriving beneath the goddess's protection. She felt the depth of Akiheim's care for every soul within Hanamura, and the goddess's gratitude for the sacrifices that sustained her strength. "It's beautiful," Kaori thought back, her voice trembling in awe. "Thank you for protecting us." Akiheim's smile widened, and with a gentle motion, she began to lift Kaori from the ground. The goddess's immense tails curled around her protectively, shielding her from the gaze of the crowd. Kaori felt weightless, cradled by the silken fur that shimmered like starlight. Her heartbeat slowed, matching the rhythm of Akiheim's own, a deep, steady pulse that resonated through their shared connection. As Kaori was brought closer to Akiheim's face, she could see every detail of the goddess's divine form. The iridescent glow of her skin, the faint golden sparkles that danced in her fur, and the way her eyes held infinite kindness. When Akiheim's lips parted, Kaori was bathed in a warm, golden light. The interior of Akiheim's mouth was breathtaking, glowing softly with divine energy. It was not a place of fear, but of comfort. The walls shimmered like liquid gold, radiating a soothing warmth. The scent was faintly sweet, like wildflowers on a summer breeze. Kaori's body tingled as she crossed the threshold, her senses overwhelmed by the sheer intimacy of the moment. Inside, the warmth enveloped her entirely, as if she were sinking into the softest embrace. The pulsating rhythm of Akiheim's body surrounded her, a steady cadence that calmed her even further. Through their telepathic bond, Akiheim's voice continued to comfort her. "You are part of something eternal now, Kaori. I feel your light joining mine. You have no idea how deeply you are loved." Kaori's consciousness seemed to expand, merging with the goddess's essence. She no longer felt small or separate. Instead, she became one with the energy flowing through Akiheim, her thoughts blending seamlessly with the divine presence that enveloped her. From the outside, Eikiheim's expression was serene. She lowered her head slightly, as if in prayer, as Kaori's life energy flowed through her, revitalizing her immense power. Her 9 tails shimmered with renewed brightness, casting beams of light over the city like a protective shield. The crowd below watched in awestruck silence, their hearts swelling with gratitude and sorrow. Within her, Kaori's spirit lingered, vibrant and warm. Eikiheim could feel every nuance of the young woman's thoughts, her memories, her hopes, and the love she held for Hanamura. It filled the goddess with a profound sense of connection. "Thank you, Kaori," Eikiheim whispered through their bond, her voice soft with emotion. "You will always be with me." Kaori's final thoughts echoed in reply. "Protect them, Eikiheim. Always." The telepathic link faded as Kaori's consciousness became one with the goddess. Eikiheim felt a rush of bittersweet emotion. Pride for the young woman's bravery, sorrow for her loss, and a deep, unshakable love for the people she protected. Eikiheim's body shimmered as she absorbed Kaori's life energy, her power replenished. She closed her eyes, her expression serene, and whispered a silent prayer of gratitude. Through their telepathic bond, Eikiheim ensured that Kaori felt no pain, only warmth and belonging. Kaori's spirit merged with Eikiheim's essence, her thoughts mingling with the goddess's. It was a profound unity, a merging of mortal and divine, and Kaori knew her sacrifice had secured the city's future. When Eikiheim rose to her full height, her radiance was brighter than ever. She extended her hand to the crowd below, her voice ringing out like a celestial hymn. "Kaori's courage will sustain us all. Let her sacrifice remind us of the bond we share. I am stronger because of her, and because of all of you. Hanamura, you are safe. Kaori's courage will light our path forward. Cherish her memory, and live with the same love she has shown for us all." The crowd erupted in cheers, their gratitude echoing through the city. Eikiheim smiled, her golden eyes glimmering with emotion. She turned and ascended to her celestial perch above the city, her towering form a comforting silhouette against the stars. High above the city, Eikiheim sat in quiet contemplation. Her 9 tails swirled around her like a protective cocoon, their soft glow illuminating the night sky. Through her bond with Kaori, she could still feel the young woman's presence. Kaori's thoughts were now part of her own, a quiet yet vibrant melody that resonated within her divine essence. The Festival of Light continued below, a celebration that seemed even more joyous and profound this year. Eikiheim watched the lanterns float upward, their tiny flames flickering like stars. Each one carried a message of hope, gratitude, or love from the people of Hanamura. She read them all, her divine senses attuned to every whisper of devotion. As she rested, her thoughts drifted to the origins of the tradition. Centuries ago, Hanamura had been a small village plagued by constant danger. Bandits, wild beasts, and unrelenting storms had threatened its survival. Eikiheim, drawn to the village by the purity of its people's hearts, had taken it upon herself to protect them. But even for a goddess, the act of constant guardianship had its price. The villagers, realizing her struggle, had come together to offer a solution. A wise elder suggested the ritual of willing sacrifice, ensuring it was rooted in love rather than fear. Eikiheim had been reluctant at first, unwilling to take even a single life. But the elder had insisted, explaining that those who volunteered did so out of the deepest love for their community. The act was not one of loss but of unity. Over the centuries, the tradition had evolved. The chosen sacrifice was no longer a somber event but a moment of celebration and honor. Those who volunteered were treated as heroes, their names immortalized in the annals of Hanamura's history. The ritual had become a sacred bond between the goddess and her people, a testament to their mutual devotion. Eikiheim's thoughts returned to Kaori. The young woman's memories played in her mind like a vivid tapestry. Moments of joy with her family, quiet evenings spent painting, and her unwavering belief in the goodness of the world. Eikiheim cherished these fragments, knowing they were now part of her own being. "Thank you, Kaori," she whispered, her voice carried by the wind. "Your love will sustain us all." The first light of dawn crept over the horizon, painting the city in soft gold and pink hues. Akiheim stood, her towering form outlined against the sky as she gazed at Hanamura. Below, the festival was slowly winding down, but the spirit of unity and joy remained palpable. With a gentle wave of her hand, she sent a ripple of her divine energy through the city, a blessing for her people. Flowers bloomed along the streets, and the air grew fragrant with their scent. The lanterns, still floating high, formed constellations in the sky, each one a tribute to those who had come before Kaori, shining brightly to remind everyone of their shared history and resilience. From her perch, Akiheim spoke once more, her voice reaching every corner of the city. "Kaori's light will forever shine among the stars, just as each of you carries the light of hope. Together, we are stronger than any challenge. Hanamura, know that I will always protect you." The people below looked up, tears of gratitude and determination in their eyes. They cheered for their goddess, their protector, and for the memory of Kaori. As the final lanterns faded into the morning light, Akiheim turned her gaze upward, her golden eyes filled with quiet resolve. The bond she shared with Hanamura had deepened once more, strengthened by the love and sacrifice that defined their connection. And as she sat beneath the endless sky, watching over her city, she felt Kaori's spirit like a warm ember in her heart, guiding her forward. The Kitsune goddess smiled, her 9 tails shimmering softly as they wrapped around her. For as long as Hanamura needed her, she would be there, a guardian and a symbol of the enduring love between mortal and divine. And so, as the city basked in the first rays of dawn, Hanamura stood as a beacon of unity and hope. The people resumed their daily lives with a renewed sense of purpose, carrying Kaori's memory and Akiheim's blessings in their hearts. Akiheim, high above, watched over them with pride and affection, her luminous presence a constant reminder of their shared bond. Though her tasks as guardian were never-ending, Akiheim found solace in the spirits she carried within her, a collection of love, courage, and sacrifice that fueled her resolve. She whispered a quiet promise to herself, to protect Hanamura for as long as the stars burned in the sky and the people's devotion lit the world below. The festival of light would end that night, but its echoes lingered in every corner of the city, carried by the wind, the laughter of children, and the eternal watch of the Kitsune goddess. Together, goddess and city thrived, their fates entwined like threads in a beautiful, unbreakable tapestry. And thus, Hanamura continued to shine, a city where mortal and divine walked hand in hand, bound forever by love, sacrifice, and light.